All right, we are back, guys. This is the midpoint marvelous facts. We got two ladies featured for you tonight. We got Black Widow and we got Rogue. I figured we'd do Black Widow because of the whole funeral thing going down in Secret Empire that we're going to cover. And then Rogue was featured pretty prominently in Uncanny Avengers, and we've covered most of the other people featured in the books this week. So this was kind of process of elimination that led me to these two, and Black Widow was a little bit of a stretch, but that's where we are. And we'll start with Black Widow here. She was created by Stan Lee and Don Heck. First appearance way back in 1964 in Tales of Suspense number 52. Appearance of Death, Secret Empire number 7, so September 2017. That's not entirely accurate. It was August, I think. Or July, but I think they like titled the issues advanced. Yeah, so like July is really August. I don't know how far ahead it really is, but anyway, we got some facts for our pal Natasha here, the sexy Scarlett Johansson in the movie universe, and Natasha has received a Russian serum that extends her life and youth, resulting in maintaining the appearance of a woman in her 30s, despite being born all the way back in 1928. So those damn Russians and their fountain of youth drugs.
Yeah, I guess so.
I got some other crazy
That's
things
right.
here.
Like age.
Yeah, she's like still hot as hell, even though she's almost 100 years old.
It doesn't age.
That's kind of like a moral question. Would you do somebody who was 100 years old if they looked 30?
I don't know. Maybe, right? If they naturally, it's not like some kind of illusion, like they
If you
actually
knew
look
she was
30.
100 years old, but it was Scarlett Johansson, well, that's a yes, right?
Yes, that's a yes.
There you go.
That's a full-on yes.
Yeah, there you go. Some comic book hard-hitting questions for you right there. Despite Black Widow having been introduced all the way back in 64, it wasn't until 35 years later in 99 that the first version of the Red Room backstory was truly established in Black Widow #1 back in 99. So I thought that was pretty crazy. And I thought that was kind of like her origin that was established way back in the day, to kind of like, rival Cap a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
So we got one more here. That serum that she was injected with while, extending her life and keeping her young in appearance affects her body and has made pregnancy impossible from what I've read. So
that's a bummer for her.
Yeah, that's your trade-off.
Now let me now if this serum keeps her young, right? Like obviously it regenerates cells. So does that mean even though Cap killed her, they could bring her back because she could like regenerate?
Yeah, they're probably, they got something to lean on there. You know what I'm saying? They don't usually kill characters without an out. Like, Tony's got the tech out and the consciousness out. Wolverine always has the healing factor out. Hulk, you can never kill Hulk,
No, he just can't die.
Yeah. So we got one more character here. We got Rogue, who we just featured in Uncanny Avengers. I always want to say Uncanny X-Men, but Uncanny Avengers. She's got creators I don't know what I'm saying here. Creators of the Chris Claremont and Michael Golden.
Hey.
So yeah, most of the current X-Men featured in the 90s are all credited mostly to Chris Claremont. Just like most of the other Marvel characters are credited to Stan Lee or Steve Ditko or God damn it, I can't remember his name. Kirby. There we go. Jack Kirby. And he was
Claremont had like a 16-year run.
Well, yeah, Claremont created a lot of X-Men. First appearance of Rogue was back in 1981 of October, Avengers Annual number 10. Got a couple crazy facts for Rogue here. She gained her power of flight and invulnerability from hanging on to Miss Marvel when touching her for an extended period of time. Those powers were later enhanced as well as her mutant abilities after absorbing iconic powers of Wonder Man due to supercharged cells. So she has, yeah, she hangs on to people for too long, and instead of just temporarily absorbing their powers, it can kind of be a permanent thing, but also kind of make her crazy in the process. Uh, I wonder if these comic book creators are telling us something about the women in their lives when, you know, like the Scarlet Witches of the world and the Rogues of the world, like are
They
so
suck the
emotionally
life out of you.
unstable. Yeah.
They
Uh,
suck the life out of you.
Literally,
I
that's her
remember.
power. Like you go in for a kiss and she fucking basically kills you. You know what I'm saying? Like a person
Yeah.
like you or me could never imagine to do it.
I
Um,
remember my brother telling me about that when I was a little kid and the 90s cartoon was on because she had that power and I remember asking him like why does she fly and have super strength? And then he's like, well, she got them from Captain Marvel because he read comic books and I didn't at that time. So he used to
yeah.
like explain to me like
Explain the
the whole entire
backstory. Yeah.
history of everything. Like I'd get him going and he'd never shut up and he'd talk about like every comic book and give me every detail.
Yeah, they're careful to mention on Rogue's wiki page that like her powers are reminiscent of after having touched Miss Marvel. So like they don't give you like a before or after shot. They just show you her current power
Yeah.
levels. But they do mention how they've been enhanced since really kind of touching Miss Marvel. That kind of seems to be the whole revolving point.
Someone told me that I read recently that she got like control over her absorbing power, like she could do it at will instead of just touching someone. I don't know if that's true because it didn't seem like it in this issue of
Yeah,
Uncanny, but
it doesn't seem like it in any issue that I've read with Rogue because she still doesn't openly, you know, touch people or kiss people or anything like that without her powers really taking effect. And we just read what Astonishing X-Men 1 or 2, and that was really the whole saving point of the book. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I read that in a comment, like someone was pissed because I think it happened in like previous issues of Uncanny. I couldn't confirm because I didn't read it, but I was like,
Yeah,
that's weird. Did she get control over it? But I wouldn't
yeah.
know. So
Well, even if she
that,
has control of it, it doesn't mean she still can't like kiss somebody and do it. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
anyway, last fact I got for Rogue, not like power absorbing related, is that a couple alternate versions just in her history with what she turns into or does, because usually have her like betraying the X-Men in ultimate alternate version stuff. In the Age of Apocalypse crossover, she was in a relationship with Magneto, and after absorbing all of Polaris's powers, was able to control that whole touching aspect to kind of like counter Magneto's magnetic balance and not absorb, you know?
That happened in the
Um,
regular universe too, hasn't it?
well, I don't know how much canon Age of Apocalypse is, like if the characters remember it or not, you know what I'm saying?
Because I was reading this old Uncanny issue. I forget which one it was, but it was a Claremont issue, and she was on like some island with Magneto, and like the X-Men were mad at them for her for betraying them or something.
Yeah, that you might be right. That does kind of ring a bell. I don't know what that was. Ganesha, probably they were on. That's always where Magneto goes, isn't it?
Genosha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then another alternate version. I
Genosha.
don't know if this was a what if story or whatever from back in the day, but in this story, Rogue in alternate history becomes the collector of mutant memories. So I thought that
Oh
was kind
shit.
of creepy in a way. Uh,
That's mad creepy.
yeah. So yeah, that's it for midpoint marvelous facts and our what the fuck facts for the night. We're going to transition into book section number 2, where Trevor's going to spotlight the listener request of Star Wars 35. We got kind of a 2-part story or 2 different one shots, I guess, before the next big arc kicks off. And then we talk about Secret Empire number 10 after that before we wrap things up for you guys. All right, we are
It's gonna be
back.
hard.
This is, you need a quick break or no?
No, I just gotta. I'm gonna I gotta be as quiet as possible while I do this.
I can sum it if you want me to. It doesn't matter. I didn't write anything down, but I read it twice.
If you wanted, that'd be cool. Cause I don't know. Cause I wrote all these notes, but I got a knock at the door a little while ago, so I know if
Yeah,
I can't
you're
be
just
too loud, I'm gonna piss someone
you're
off.
gonna have to help me with names. That's all. I'm gonna fuck up a lot of these names.
I'll.
But yeah, I'll do it. No problem. We got. There we go. I get my cut in there.
But do you want me to send you my my stupid thing that I wrote?
Nah, I got it
I
because
don't
this
know. It's
wasn't hard to
incoherent.
understand. It's
Only I'll be able to read it anyway.
It's pretty fucking easy to explain what's going on here. I'm not even a huge Star Wars fan, and I got the gist of this story. But yeah, we got Star Wars.
There are a
35.
couple things that went back.
What is it?
Nah, never mind. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I think it. I mean, I know it ties all into past stories and shit, but this was a good one shot where you didn't really need to know a whole lot. All right, so we'll put my final cut in here. We'll get this edited in. All right, we are back, guys. It is book section number 2. We're going to kick that off with Star Wars number 35, a good palate cleanser before we get into Secret Empire number 10 for the night. As far as I can tell, this is really coming off the heels of the ending of a big kind of arc or story that just wrapped up, and kind of a cool down point while we kick things off into the next big Star Wars thing coming. And we got
it's called Screaming Citadel. It's called Screaming Citadel.
One coming?
No, that was the one that just passed.
That just ended
a couple issues ago. Yeah.
And then it transitions this one into kind of a Han Solo and Wookiee mission or one-shot story. And pretty good pick-me-up here after reading the books we covered. But yeah, Han kicks things off this issue. Actually, I forgot the team here. Gotta pull up my goddamn.
Oh, I got it right here.
I just closed it. I don't know why I closed it, because I pulled it up to cover it.
I got it right here. If you want to just do the team real quick.
Jason Aaron. There it is. Writer Jason Aaron. Artist Salvador LaRocca. Color artist of Edgar Delgado. Clayton Cowles, like Trevitt said, doing all the letters in all the books ever. And things start off here aboard one of the many Star Wars fleet ships as Han Solo starts having a conversation with Mon Mothma. This isn't some lady from the movies, right? This is a comic book lady only?
No, she was in the movies.
Okay, let's see. This is how much Star Wars I know. But what I can say is from the cover, the hut that they're dealing with has creepy ass eyes. Like, this dude's eyes are creepy on a whole nother level. But Han ends up getting offered this mission by Mon Mothma. She propositions Han to take this different hut, who I initially thought was Jabba, but then I saw he's got like the spider legs and the fucked up eye.
Gracchus.
Farrakis is his name?
Gracchus.
Garacus.
Gracchus, yeah. She's
propositioning Han to take Garacus to this jail planet. They want to get him off this starship so they don't get attacked. Want to keep him kind of in a secluded area, and he's pretty dangerous. So they don't want to take any chances or risk anything with him aboard. Han's initially, hesitant to take this mission on. He's like, this really isn't my style. I don't want to mess with any more huts. But she ends up eventually talking poor Han into things. And before we know it, Han is aboard his world famous Millennium Falcon with co-pilot Chewie. And what, this hut is just in shackles, and they're letting this dude wander around the place, and he's just choosing to bug him in the cockpit. I couldn't figure out if he was chained to the wall or what was going on, really. Because we'll get to
I think he is chained up. I think he is chained up because
I see the chains behind him, but 6. They just want to keep him close and keep a close eye on him.
On page 6, you can see is a chain like going upwards in the doorway, so it looks like he's chained up.
Okay, so that's what I kind of got too. But Han's basically like telling him, listen, you're close to us because I don't want to take my eyes off your dirty ass, but you better shut your mouth, not say anything. This is where we're going. We're not deviating from that plan. Really playing the tough guy route. But you know, Garacus the Hut is paying no attention to Han and just is really kind of talking shit, trying to get in his head. Um, Eventually, Han gets cornered really by two TIE fighters. The TIE fighters give him the option of pulling over to the nearest meteor to land so they can board them and check out this ship because they're looking for rebels. Han obviously never listens to what the TIE fighters have to say and tries to take off warp speed. But while they're trying to, generate enough speed to get going at light speed, warp speed, whatever you want to call it, their hyperdrive or whatever gets taken out. The big Star Wars cliche. You know what I'm saying? Just to stop them from jumping and getting out of
It
trouble.
happens all the time. To
Yeah.
Han, it happens all the time.
Yeah. The Millennium Falcon especially is always malfunctioning on him when he needs it most. But then Garacus the Hut ends up like hitting something in the control room. This is his elbow like smashing something, right?
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
So he fucks something up in the ship, really kind of screwing Han over more. Han kind of has a suspicion that he did it. Tells Chewie to try to go and fix the hyperdrive so they can get going. And more TIE fighters arriving.
Actually, he tells Chewie to go on to the cannon.
Oh, the
cannon to shoot at TIE fighters. Yeah.
Cannons was the first command for Chewie. They end up basically concluding they're cornered. They have too many TIE fighters around them. They can't take them all out. So they're going to land on the meteorite so they can be boarded. And Han starts kind of fucking with Garacus at this point. I kind of started figuring out at this aspect where he's like, I'm just going to turn you over to the Empire. And Garacus.
So he's been like, Garacus has been kissing his ass the whole entire time he's been on the ship, because you remember when he first gets on and he's like talking about how beautiful the ship is.
Yeah, beautiful the ship is. Yeah, and Han's like, oh, everyone calls it a piece of trash.
Trash. Yeah. And he's like, oh yeah, everybody says that. It is a great, beautiful ship. Like,
yeah, totally flattering him. Han's not really falling for it. He knows it's all a giant game. And this is where Han starts turning the tables on Garacus. Because Garacus is taken by surprise. Han is just flat out surrendering to the bad guys at this point. The Garacus the Hutt tries to call him on his bluff, but as he's getting walked out to the Empire, the Empire and Garacus start having like a back and forth that doesn't go very well, and this causes Garacus to start killing the TIE fighter pilots. He squeezes one dude's fucking. I imagine he just pinched this dude's head and like squished the helmet like it was a tin pop can. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then Chewie and Han sneak up from their coveted little cubby hole underneath the main like entrance area of the Millennium Falcon, shoot two guys from behind. Garacus, we find out this was all set up by Han just to kill these pilots. Garacus played along.
That's what happened was in the beginning, Mon Mothma sent Han to take her into this general to interrogate him to get information about where the secret weapons cache was, where he had all these supplies and guns and whatnot. And this was all the Imperials weren't involved, but this was all a plot by Han because he knew interrogation wasn't going to work. Like, if the general sat him down and asked him all these questions, Gracchus would just tell him to go fuck himself. It didn't matter what they did to him. So he tricked him by making him think he got the upper hand on him. So they would, and then he tells Chewie to take him to that planet where he has all that weapons and stuff, and they fucking tricked him through the whole thing. But the Imperial stuff, that was an accident. That wasn't supposed to happen on purpose.
Yeah, that was the mistake part. That worked to their convenient, their convenient ploy at hand. But the whole point and the information they wanted to get from Garacus was where his weapon stash was, and
Yeah.
he ends up telling the TIE fighter pilots, right? Just kind of out loud.
No. He tells after he beats up the TIE fighters and they come up and they shoot the guys, he grabs Han by the throat.
Oh, that's right.
And
And he
he's
tells
choking
him he's
Han.
going to take him.
Yeah, because Chewie runs up and Chewie's gonna shoot him, and he's like, "If you fucking shoot me, I'm just gonna break his neck. So how about you hop in the pilot seat and take me to Tet, because that's
Yep.
where his
There we
secret
go.
hideout." He's like, he wants to go back to where he was before he was imprisoned by the Empire, because he used to have like this big setup, like kind of like Jabba, and he had this like giant museum of old Jedi memorabilia because he kidnapped Luke because Luke was looking for the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, and in looking for the temple, he got picked up by Gracchus because Gracchus wanted him to open up these Jedi fucking thingamajigs. I forget what they're called, but they have like information of all their training and how they make lightsabers and whatnot. So, he ended up getting beat by Luke and Han and everybody, and then the Imperials come and took him away and arrested
They
him and
arrested him, yeah.
confiscated all his
And
Jedi
now
stuff.
they
Yeah,
just want to
because
get him to
Vader,
jail and get the information from
yeah,
him.
because Vader's been looking for Luke, so they got him. He's in jail, and then the rebels grabbed him from the Imperials.
Yeah, I was getting
This
ahead
is
of myself. Sometimes I do that when I'm summing these up, like without my own detailed notes. Like I skip ahead of myself in the story, like when I hit a wordy conversation part. So you summed it up a lot better than I was doing. At one point, though, I want to talk about this art because when Garacus has Han by the neck, and it's like a close up of Han's face, that is the creepiest comic book panel I've ever seen in my fucking life. It looks
the
straight up like
photos.
an Instagram filter. Yeah, they just put
It does.
over a picture of Han Solo from the movies. You know what I'm saying?
The fucked up part is that's exactly what this is. There were 3 panels in this book where I knew exactly where they came from the original trilogy.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the faces. He totally took them. He totally took them from the movie and put them in the book.
My favorite part of the book, personally, here though, is when Han finally gets the upper hand on Garacus and he starts using like the defenses they've secretly installed in his legs. And he has got the code words to keep shocking him. And he starts it off on level 3.
And yeah.
So Garacus has him by the throat and he's like solo code 795 level 3, which basically electrocutes Garacus. So he goes down from this level 3 shock. And he's like, how'd you do that? He's like, yeah, when you were passed out in jail, we installed these things in you. And he looks like a fucking fried goddamn roadkill with his tongue hanging out in the second panel after the second shock.
You know what that makes me think of?
Look, I want to like put that as my phone background. Legitimately, I love it.
It reminds me of Jabba the Hutt in from Return of the Jedi after Leia strangled him in the beginning.
Yeah, just like tongue hanging
his
out.
Tongue is all hanging out.
Like a dead worm with a giant mouth.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious.
So Han's walking away all cocky. He's got his information at this point that he needs. He's like, you played right into my hands, you dirty son of a bitch. This guy's like, I got my handcuffs off. I'm going to kill you. And then Han's like, all right, level 8. Shocks his ass again. Him and Chewie end up, just there's another one of those photorealistic panels in the bottom of page 20. Him and Chewie start heading up towards the cockpit to return him to jail, like continue their original path, correct? Like they're still taking him to jail.
Yeah.
And they fry him one more time on level 9 just for good measure to knock him out.
Knock him out cold.
Yeah, I love that part.
Han's face in that panel, that really so creeps me out so bad because the shadow
there was
under
like
his eyes.
5 or 6 times that shit happened in this comic book where I'm just like, That's too photorealistic for like everything else around it being drawn, especially the Hutt's hand, you know what I'm saying? Just around his throat. It just looks a
Yeah.
little off.
I
Um
don't understand why he does it because he didn't do it in Darth Vader. Like if Luke and Han would show up and when he was drawing the Darth Vader comic, he wouldn't do that with their faces. But every issue of Star Wars he's done that with Luke, Leia, Han. It's creepy
yeah,
as fuck.
maybe it's like just a Star Wars office mandate, you know what I'm saying? So none of the characters are drawn poorly. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Not that Salvador's a
Well,
bad artist, but they I just don't think that.
nobody else has had to do it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a shortcut to keep it on a schedule.
It's so weird.
It is weird. I agree with you. It throws me right out of things. Um, but the Han and Chewie's story really ends, and then it looks like the last the last page is dedicated to setting up the next story, which is probably going to be another one shot type, one shot type story, and it's featuring these stormtroopers who look like they're chasing after some life-threatening Jedi who's going through the destroyer, the ship they're on, fucking killing everybody, and it is revealed to be R2D2. And he's just
That's
trying to
fucking
speed
crazy.
away from these fuckers. So yeah, R2 has got to escape next issue. I guess we're going to get an R2 issue, which should be pretty a decent amount of fun. I don't know. I have fun with those droid issues personally. I've read a few of them.
Yeah,
Um,
I have faith in Jason Aaron.
yeah, but I don't know. This was again a listener pick. So any other listeners out there, you guys want to hear something maybe we've neglected or haven't mentioned in a while, you could also do just the same. Just hit us up on Twitter or something. But as far as buy, borrow, or forget goes, I had a lot of fun reading this book. I didn't sum the story up perfectly. Like, glad Trevitt decided to help me out there, save me in the middle, really bring the points I was trying to connect all the way around. But I still enjoyed it. I did understand what I was reading while I was reading it, despite how poorly I did describing it at points. But besides the few panels with the faces, I really did enjoy the art. Like just the space settings and all the ships look awesome. Like I'm surprised none of the ships have that kind of realistic model type look to them, but they don't, and they all look great. I just had I haven't read the series consistently, any of the Star Wars books, but anytime I've come to them and read them as individual comic book issues, I've always had a good time with them. So this would just fall in line with all that, and it was a good one shot story. Not something I have to come back to keep getting more of, but I won't hesitate to revisit it again if, like, the listeners want another Star Wars book or you pick another Star Wars book. So yeah, I would suggest this as a buy, especially, Star Wars fan. You're getting your money worth on issue 35 at least. What do you think?
Oh boy, it's gonna be hard. I liked it. I can't. I have a hard time talking because my nephew's sleeping in the other room, so I gotta be really really quiet. So that's why I. God damn it! I'm so pissed. I spent a fucking hour on that fucking thing. I liked it. It's a buy for me. That's all I could really say right now.
Trevor's on lockdown there. Kids sleeping. But yeah, I mean, I did. I really enjoyed it. A good Chewie and Han story, and the future Star Wars issues, if they ever catch up with the future timeline, won't have many of those. So you got to appreciate the past ones while they're still out there. And yeah, I just dug the look of this Hutt. He's a cool. He wasn't in the movies, right? This Hutt, Garacus.
No, he wasn't in the movies.
Yeah, he's got a cool look. I wish he was. So yeah, we're gonna move on to Secret Empire number 10 before we wrap things up here for you guys tonight. All right,
I'm so pissed.
Closing segment here, and we're all done.
I spent a friggin' hour or like 40 minutes on those fucking Star Wars notes, And
Yeah. Now you know how I
I
feel
just
when I
don't.
forgot to hit record last week for me and Jim's sports thing we were trying to do. We
That's like
wasted a whole
my.
hour and a half.
I didn't even really use my notes for Uncanny Avengers because I didn't know what to say because I can't fully articulate what I want to say because I can't use my full
Yeah.
voice. So I'm like all
Yeah,
getting
I hear
tripped
you.
up like so fucking
All
pissed.
right, so we'll wrap this up here. We got to end the podcast. All right, we are back, guys. This is gonna end things for us here after the little Marvel Legacy trailer. That's what you got to look forward to in a couple weeks, and what the editors and the head people in charge are telling us. So take that for what you will at this moment in time. But if you guys are looking to get a hold of us, you can find us both individually. Those are always in the show notes or Twitter handle. You're looking for the podcast account, you can go to Madness Marvel One. If you're looking for us on email, be happy to read any emails or thoughts you have or opinions on our opinions. You can hit us up at Marvel Madness Zero. And then just go over the books we're going to cover for you guys next week. It's going to be Venom versus Heavy week. We're going to give you the full scoop on that event kicking off. Now that all the Edge of Venomverse issues have ended, rather disappointingly, in my opinion, we're going to see if this event by Colin Bunn can finally pick up some steam. So we got Venomverse 1 that's going to be covered under the title banner, and then Venomverse War.
Spital. Spital.
No, it's getting late. I can't talk either.
Neither can
The
I.
event book we're going to do will be Venomverse War Stories. So we'll give you a full dose of Venomverse and both those books coming out under that banner next week. For the hero section, we're going to do All New Guardians #9, which looks to be finally revealing what all this Groot twig nonsense is been up to and hinting at. And then Trevitt has decided to choose the Royals #7 for the IVX section. First time we'll be covering that book on the podcast. So if you're behind on Royals, catch up to issue 7, where we will be spoiling things next week. But that is all from us. We're going to sign out for you guys. Trevitt can't say much. Maybe he'll give us an adios here on our way out the door because our party is over. Holler at us. You guys know where to
Later.
find us. Peace out. We'll talk to you next week.